Good evening and welcome back to the Committee of the Whole meeting for Wednesday, April 10th, 2024. And we are reconvening at 8:17. We have no delegations tonight, and at this time we're on item 5.1, confirmation of minutes. The Committee of the Whole meeting minutes for March 13th, 2024. Councillor Wiley.
Sure, I'll move the council adopt the March 13th, 2024 Committee of the Whole meeting minutes as presented in Attachment 1.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
And that motion is carried. We move now to item 6, business, 6.1, Regional Emergency Management Bylaw Update on page 27. And Chief Sturgeon, good evening and welcome. We apologize for the delay, but we got a lot accomplished, and I'm sorry you had to pay the price for it and the others.
No problem. Good evening, Your Worship and Council. Thank you for allowing me to present on the Emergency Management Bylaw. I brought Sarah with me today. Obviously, she's the Emergency Management Coordinator for the whole REMP group, which was instrumental in doing this change for us. I'll give you a quick synopsis of what, or who, what, why, and how, and Sarah and I will be able to answer any questions at the end. So how we got here, so during our annual review of the bylaw and emergency plans with staff from AEMA, or Alberta Emergency Management Agency, suggested changes to the Regional Emergency Management Bylaw 2205. The proposed changes outline the regional partnership procedures, the agency, the committee, and the roles and responsibilities tied to each, ensuring greater clarity for all partners for their roles and responsibilities should an incident occur. Some of the proposed changes include the following sections: removal of the planning and coordination group, which is replaced by the agency, which we already had. Addition of the City of Chestermere, authority and responsibility of the Regional Emergency Management Committee, and authority and responsibility of the Regional Emergency Management Agency, which I spoke about. Ultimately, the proposed changes to the bylaw align with the Local Authority Emergency Management Regulations and the Provincial Emergency Management Act. A draft of this proposal, bylaw 2409, is included in Attachment 1. This report is intended to provide Council with an update and an opportunity to provide feedback on the Regional Emergency Management Bylaw and Agreement in advance of the April 25th meeting of the Regional Advisory Committee, which Councillor Wagner sits on, and the alternate is Councillor Langmaid. Upon support from the Regional Advisory Committee, the proposed bylaw changes will be brought back to Council for final approval. And just a point of clarification, so on page 37 of your package, so 37 of 128, under agency structure 5.0, we had two paragraphs that contradict each other. So we are, in addition to the changes noted, we will be looking to delete 5.1. There's hereby established the Wheatland Regional Emergency Management Agency to act in an advisory capacity and support local and regional emergency plans, and keep the paragraph below that, which basically states the same thing in different words. And then the agreement which we spoke about. So the REMP agreement talks about the committee group that is changed to the agency, and this will be revised at that April 25th meeting of the committee. So it's just kind of an overview of kind of how we got to this bylaw, and we've also included in your attachments the markup document of the bylaw, the current bylaw, and then the actual changes and the reasons for those changes in the bylaw review. So that would be page 50 of 128, starts there, and then goes to, 52. And so we could go through those line by line if you wish, or if you're up to speed on it, we can just answer your questions.
Questions from councillors? My only question, actually, Chief, is Chestermere is now part of it, or it will be part of it? They are.
Yeah, they currently are part of the REMP, okay. And so this is basically with the changes they had in their council and some issues there. It just took quite some time to get the bylaw to their council.
Okay.
this
Has it
week.
been a pretty smooth transition with them joining?
Yeah, very smooth. They've been an awesome partner and great to
Good.
work with. So it really adds to our capacity and training. So we're very happy with that partnership.
Perfect, thank you. Councillor Wegener.
Chief, just one question. Has Chestermere appointed, like, I mean, I know they've been kind of decimated in that, but are they going to have representation coming up at our meeting in 2 weeks?
Yeah, if I may. So I've talked to Pat Vinson, who is our interim CAO, and so he will be at the committee. He had planned, we did push the committee meeting, so he does plan to be in attendance. However, our council member and Mayor Greg Lagore, I believe his name is, will not be attending the meeting. Yes, sorry.
Thank you for that. That's
Councillor Wiley.
When I look at the sweeping powers that the emergency plan can give emergency crew, I'm both comforted, mostly comforted, but I also picture a situation with a malevolent council. And I just think of the power that that they would have. I guess to be serious then, my question is there some kind of accountability after a state of emergency has been called? Like it quite clearly says in the bylaw that, all actions within goodwill will be, basically they're not going to be held account. But is there a process, sort of like we saw with the Federal Emergencies Act, where there would be potential for the province perhaps to look into, did the council overstep in declaring a state of emergency?
Yeah, so to answer your question, so probably the best way to put it would be AMA will assist, generally be the DEM, which would be myself, or the deputy DEM, in an after-action review. So that's something that our municipality is responsible for. So we would have to initiate that, but it's general practice and good practice to do that after each incident. And so through that review, that would be an external agency or a contractor that would perform that review. And then anything out of that review could be brought to council to talk about kind of what went well, what didn't go well, and if there's any suggestions for changes to the way that basically we do business. So,
And that documentation would be made public as well?
yeah, so that would be up to council. So that if we were directed by council to do an after-action review, or say the DEM initiated it with council's permission, then it would come to council first, and if they wish to release it, then that would be their prerogative to do
So
that.
conceivably, though, a council that had ill intent could create a problem with this then? I mean, that goes for any bylaw, I'm sure.
Through the chair, ultimately, if there's actions by council that aren't in good faith, the Minister of Affairs, Municipal Affairs, would obviously have some jurisdiction over any council within the province. So if there was if there's harm or anything was not done properly, then obviously the Office of the Minister of Affairs Municipal Affairs would be.
And there are other checks, and so I'm glad to hear that. That's what I thought you would say. The other checks and balances, obviously, would be that the emergency crews, whether or not council declared a state of emergency, to what extent are they going to be enacting any of the things in here if they don't see it as a priority either?
Yeah, so maybe to comfort you a bit more, so anytime we do go out to declare a SOL, and if we are taking actions, we work hand in hand with AEMA and with their representatives. So I think they're not just going to blindly allow us to do things that we shouldn't be doing. They're going to advise against it. And I think with the team that we have in place, all the competent people that are actually going to be running the incident on the ground, I can't see a time where they're going to allow us to overstep in that capacity. Like, everything we do is to mitigate the incident, and there may be things that potentially could go wrong, but I don't think anybody's going to step out in bad faith and try to do something just to do something negligent.
Yeah, so in other words, the emergency responders are competent, highly trained, educated people. So regardless of how incompetent or malevolent a council might be, they're the ones who are ultimately going to be, that makes me
That's
feel a
correct.
lot better. Okay.
Any other questions for Chief Sturgeon? Seeing and hearing none, thank you very much for your presentation and your willingness to answer the questions that were asked. Thank you. We've moved now to 6.3, Alberta Municipalities Resolution 2024, Alberta First Responders Radio Communication System Equipment Funding Discussion. Thank you. Jonathan, welcome back.
Good evening, Your Worship Council. Thank you for allowing me to speak to you today. So as I think Council's aware, Alberta Municipalities conducts a resolution process that allows members to identify issues and potential solutions that eventually could perhaps allow their board of directors to advocate to the province and the federal government. So before you today is a proposed resolution for your consideration. The purpose of the resolution is to have Alberta municipalities advocate for the Government of Alberta to provide financial support for municipalities with a population of less than 3,000 and for regional groups to obtain equipment necessary to participate in the Alberta First Responders Communication System. The desire is that if the province is able to provide financial support to smaller municipalities, more municipalities would be able to access the AFRAC system, which would then allow for greater collaboration and streamlined communications in the event of an emergency. The cost of the equipment can be quite large. For municipalities, it can cost somewhere between $5,000 to $15,000 per radio unit. So for example, the town of Strathmore recently budgeted $250,000 for the purchase of this equipment. Before we discuss the resolution in greater detail, I just wanted to make a couple quick notes about the resolution process. All resolutions must be submitted by May 31st. Each resolution must have a mover and a seconder. The town has reached out to another municipality to see if they'd be interested in seconding the motion. As of today, we've not received confirmation. However, we do understand that this municipality is considering a similar motion. A new requirement for this year is that movers and seconders should represent two of the following categories in terms of population. So one municipality must either be of less than 2,500 as a population, or between 2,501 and 10,000, or a greater population than 10,000. So I can confirm that this other municipality that could potentially second this motion and us would meet this requirement for this Alberta municipality resolution. Furthermore, I can confirm that administration has been working very closely with Alberta municipalities regarding this resolution to make sure that there has been a similar motion presented in previous years or that has been considered already, that has already been submitted. So what administration today is looking for is just direction from council on how you'd like to proceed on the potential resolution. And if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer any that come up.
Thank you, Jonathan. Councillor Peterson.
Thank you so much for bringing this forward and just the terrific job that you've always done bringing resolutions before us. And with regards to this particular one, is there ever any advantage in having, so for instance, would there be any advantage in Councillor Wagner and myself asking WADEMSA to do a note to this, perhaps as a part of a resolution, a motion saying that that they wish to write a letter of support to the Strathmore Town Council, and they're supporting municipalities in order to do this? That's my first question. My second question is it ever of any use to have other municipalities sign on to this? And I think about the interest from our villages and how much it would form a part of our Wheatland Regional Partnership, a part of an ICF with our Wheatland Regional partners, and how much they would be grateful for this. And then the last one is that also being able to encourage our RMA neighbors to bring it forward, our regional or our rural municipalities to bring it forward as well.
Thank you, Councillor Peterson. Any other questions?
Yes, to answer them.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I guess I was looking ahead instead of that whole looking back. Yeah, back to the future. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Thank you, Your Worship and Council. Thank you for this question. So in terms of having WADEMSA potentially sign a letter of support for this resolution, that is something if council would like that definitely happen, and we could include it with a submission to Alberta municipalities. When it comes to having other municipalities voice support for it, I think that is very much welcome during the convention as well when that is being debated. And then to reach out to RMA, I think that's a great idea too. We could, if you'd like, I think we could reach out to an RMA member to see if they'd be interested in presenting a similar motion as well at their convention.
Deputy Mayor Langmaid and then Councillor Mitzner.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. This looks wonderful. Thank you. The second municipality that may be interested in seconding this resolution at Alberta Municipalities, it was someone that I spoke with at the Alberta Municipalities Spring Leaders Conference, and there was a matchmaking session that Alberta Municipalities initiated, and of course me and my big mouth couldn't help but stand up and go, we're doing something. That being said, I just want to be clear, I made no firm commitment to that community that we would pair with them. So if you continue to have issues getting in touch with them, I would very much, it would not hurt me, or I don't think it would result in any hard feelings if we extended the invitation out to the villages that are closer to us. To see if they might be interested. I just want to let you know, I made no promises, so don't, if they won't email you back, they won't email you back.
I appreciate that. I think one of the benefits of where we're at the timeline is that we do have some time now to wait and hear back from them. And if they are presenting a similar motion, then it just makes good sense to partner and make sure. But thank you. Yeah, we'll definitely keep that in mind and make sure that we have plan B, C, and D as well.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Mitzner.
So I know the Hamlet's Rocky Ford Standard in particular are interested in sharing, but they're not part of AUMA. How's that work?
I would have to confirm, but I believe the villages are a part of Alberta municipalities.
So, no, you make a good point, Councillor Mister. So the villages, like Rockyford Standard and Azar are part of AMA, but not Carsland and Gleason, because they're hamlets and part of the county.
That's right, so they'd be a part of RMA.
Yeah.
County.
Any other questions?
A question, a
Councillor
suggestion.
Peterson?
Don't you give me that look, Mayor. I saw that. In the second paragraph, or sorry, the third paragraph, starting Town of Strathmore prioritizes, one of the things that came up when we were talking at WADEMSA about the horrible costs of these systems and how, what an onerous thing it is, one of the things that really impressed me in terms of the information that came forward from the small towns, from the villages, was this whole idea that we're all in this together. And I think you do that. But I was wondering if there's any reasoned way that we could mention the fact that we have some knowledge that other communities may not have in terms of how we work it, because we are on Highway 21, Highway 9, 817, and the number 1, and the 22X, yeah, exactly. And so we have this juxtaposition of all these major highways. So we come with a really good understanding of how necessary it is, because we can't be the only community that faces this. And whoever presents this will use that, I'm sure, in terms of the speaker's notes going forward. It's just a suggestion, and I certainly concede to your greater knowledge and capacity in doing these things, but if it was something that we could even add to the speaker's notes. But thank you, Jonathan, for this.
Absolutely. It's definitely been a team effort for sure. I've been largely away from the office for the last month, so it's been a lot of other people putting a lot of effort into this. As a good note, we can definitely workshop some language to see if we can incorporate that a little bit more. And just another quick note too, I know we have reached out to AFRAX to see if we can get some more information to include in the resolution as well from them.
Deputy Mayor Langmaid.
Thank you. I just want to build on what Councillor Peterson said. I think what we heard tonight about how we've built a regional emergency management body, when we're talking about community wellness and the part of our strategic plan and the emphasis we're putting on public safety, I think that might be worthy of mentioning as well, saying, you know, this is part of our local, this is part of our regional approach. We are creating a regional working group so that we can all work together, and this is how we want to help support that. So I just think there's some really good work there being done that, I mean, knock on wood, our resolution would pass, but even if it doesn't, we can it gives us a chance to stand up in front of a crowd and say awesome things about Strathmore. So it'd be nice if we could include that. Just a thought. Thank you.
Absolutely, it's a good note. We'll try and workshop some ideas and get that included.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any further questions? Thank you, Jonathan, for your work on this. We move now to item 7, question and answer period. Seeing and hearing none. We move now to adjournments. At this time, I was really quick to get out. At this time, I'll adjourn the meeting at